Okay, so it's always nice when racists let themselves be known, and in this case, say the quiet part out loud that the reason people are against DEI is naked racism. Because we have this article: School bans everyone is welcome here classroom sign after sexual rainbows controversy. Okay, not a fan of that title, but let's see what this is all about. Residents on social media denounced a poster with hands of different skin tones and another with a rainbow as DEI. Because, um, it's funny how the bigots claim that it's the LGBT plus community that have equated rainbows with pride, when it's those very people who are assuming that everything that has a rainbow has to do with the LGBT plus community and couldn't possibly just be a rainbow. So let's get to the article. Supporters of a middle school teacher in Idaho gathered at her school district's office this week to share their outrage over officials' decision to remove a sign from a classroom reading, "Everyone is welcome here." Because nothing screams that we think schools should be segregated than getting rid of a sign that says "Everyone is welcome here." The offending sign had a drawing of people's hands in all different skin tones, a detail that made the administration believe that it was illicit DEI and came on the heels of another controversy around rainbows in a district classroom, which some parents deemed sexual because of the rainbow's association with LGBTQ plus people. The confiscation was part of a district-wide sweep by administrators of what they called DEI and LGBTQ plus inclusive imagery on school campuses. Okay, a lot to unpack here. Now, technically true, it is DEI, the "Everyone is Welcome" year, because DEI just stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. So the fact that this school teacher understands that her students are not just white is truly DEI, I guess. But the next question to these families, to these residents who lost their shit about it, is why is this a problem? Why is this illicit DEI? What's wrong with it? And do you think that schools should be segregated? Because it sure as hell sounds like it. Now, I already mentioned about the rainbows. It's just amazes me that the very people who whine that gay people have taken the rainbow for themselves are the very ones who are obsessed with rainbow equals gay. Because literally nobody else does that. Those of us who are normal, who aren't bigots, don't look at a rainbow and immediately think gay. They just see a rainbow. And sexual? How is it sexual? Even if this was a pro-gay message, how does that make it sexual? Straight people, when they talk about being straight, they don't say anything that's sexual. They just happen to be straight. There's nothing inherently sexual about being gay. All it means is that they are attracted to the same gender. It does not mean anything sexual. No more than saying a person is straight immediately assumes that they are being sexual. It's just not. All right. The confiscation was part of a... okay, I read that part. I wasn't sure. The protest found children and parents recreating the sign and other inclusive images and language in chalk on sidewalks outside area schools and the district's administrative offices in support of the Lewis and Clark middle school teacher Sarah Inama. Now, because there is nothing wrong with the everyone is welcome here, because unless you think that schools should be segregated, what is the problem with everyone is welcome here? Technically, yes, it's DEI because diversity and inclusion, but what's the problem with that? It just hammers home that the people who are anti-DEI are just trying to hide their racism. It's not that, I mean, they might truly believe that that non-whites and women who get ahead in life must have done it because of the color of their skin or their gender. But just because you're bitter old shrewds does not mean that non-whites cannot get ahead. So there is that. Idaho, too great for hate, read one colorful message. And here is a tweet. I was told that everyone is welcome here is not something that everybody believes. So that's what makes it a personal opinion, Inama said, attributing these statements to building administration and district personnel. So, it's just, I just don't know. The protest followed a directive from district officials in February, coinciding with the president's executive orders banning DEI and gender ideology in the federal government, instructing principals to go out into classrooms, go out into hallways, and just open your eyes to what's hanging on the walls. Marcus Myers, chief academic officer for the West Ada School District, told a local podcast host. A district spokesperson later told the Idaho Statesman that Inama's sign could be associated with DEI initiatives. Right, because we don't want non-white students to feel like they belong in school. Oh no, they should be out picking cotton, right? Racist morons. The sign hung on Inama's classroom wall for 4 years before it was removed. Another reason why it's not a bad sign if it was hanging there for 4 years. It's just racists have been emboldened to be racist. In 2022, the district implemented a content-neutral policy for what schools can and cannot display on campuses and in classrooms. Whatever the hell that means. School property shall not be used by personnel for the advancements of individual beliefs, the policy reads. Individual beliefs? Saying everyone is welcome here is an individual belief? I would think a school would want any student to feel welcome there. So, what the fuck? It is the desire of the district that the physical environment of district facilities be content neutral, conducive to a positive learning environment, and not a distraction to the educational environment. And how the holy hell is saying that everyone is welcome, not conducive to a positive learning environment, and a distraction. I mean, what, do you think your school is overrun by racists? And the thought of seeing someone other than a white person is going to make them lose their shit? Seriously, what the hell? Those policy changes followed a state law passed by the Idaho legislature the same year that barred public schools from compelling students to believe that members of a certain race are inherently responsible for actions committed in the past by members of that same race. Wait a minute, what? Is this a stupid fucking white guilt thing? That white people should feel guilty because other white people were assholes and enslaved black people? Jesus Christ, nobody is doing that. And if you feel guilty because white people in the past were racist fucks who thought that black people were nothing more than property to be dealt with the way they want, that's a you problem. Because nobody is asking you to feel guilty. I do not feel guilty because I am white. Do I acknowledge my privilege and want to use my powers for good? Yes. But that is not because I feel guilty because I'm white. It's because I'm a good person. Or at least I try to be. I try to be good, I try to be empathetic, and I try to help out people who need it. That is not me feeling guilty about past sins of people who I'm not even related to because my parents came from another country, so they weren't even a part of the slave trade. So, how do you feel that people are meant to feel guilty? It sounds like you feel guilty about what happened in the past and you feel bad about it. You feel anger that that's how you feel because somehow it's other people's fault that you feel guilty about that. And so you're blaming everyone else besides yourself because that makes zero sense. In the same legislation, Idaho Code was revised to state that critical race theory divides people and is contrary to the unity of the nation and the well-being of the state of Idaho. Right, because a Harvard Law School class totally affects what you teach in elementary school or high school. Seriously. These are just people screaming that when people shouldn't learn about racism because then they'll learn that I'm a bad person. I'm sorry. No. If you are a racist, then yes, that makes you a bad person. I mean, granted, there are racists that can learn to not be racist because they're just racist simply because that's all they know and it never occurs to them not to be. So obviously those exist. I'm talking about the people who, even after meeting someone of whichever race you're being racist against, and learning why what you think or say is racist and still doing it because you prefer to continue to be racist, that makes you a bad person. People, I would think most normal people who would say a racist thing and is explained why what you said was racist would probably go out of their way to, I don't know, not do or say the racist thing. Actual unrepentant racists, not a problem. They would not change a thing. All right. Inama's sign is the latest inclusive message to fall victim to the district's sanctioned censorship. Just days after the president's inauguration, a since-deleted Instagram account called West Ada Parents posted images of a classroom bulletin board it called a display of sexual rainbows and demanded its removal. I didn't realize that rainbows were sexual. School administrators complied. I really don't know. I don't know when your next school board meeting is, because obviously school administrators are not subject to elections, but except for superintendent of schools, I think, at least in Wisconsin. And I mean of the specific school district. So, vote for school board. Vote in people who will stand up to the school administrators and say, what the hell is your problem? And make them reverse this really, really stupid fucking scare. Because obviously these administrators, if they didn't need to have their arms twisted, are fucking racist and overall bigots, because most people who actually cared about freedom would, question, why do you see it that way? Why would you want to take it down? The bulletin board included 6 posters and 4 flags, including Mexico's, along with images of hands in different skin tones and 2 rainbows, one multicolored and another in different skin tones. One poster read, "Be kind." Another said, "In this room you belong here. No matter, you matter, you are worth it, you are important, you are loved, you have a voice, you are valued, you are respected." A third read, "Everyone is welcome here." Such horrible messages. Who in the world ever thought of saying such horrible, horrible, nasty things? Oh my God. Let's see, we have the American flag, Mexican flag, Colombian flag, and Brazilian flag. I think that's a Brazilian. No, wait, that's not Brazil. Unsure about that last flag. The bulletin board appeared in a room used for English as a second language instruction, with the flags representing countries that some students are from. Again, what a shock. What horror. These are clearly sexual rainbows, since they don't have the right amount of colors as an actual rainbow. Are you fucking kidding me? One of the Instagram posts on the bulletin board said, referring to how rainbows are often drawn with 7 stripes, but pride flags generally have 6 stripes. Okay, let me look at these rainbows again. Oh my God, they're totally sexual. It's not the pride flag. What is fucking wrong with you? I'm actually going to turn you guys around. Oh, I did it again. Sorry, I keep showing you my bed. Okay, these are the flags the rainbows that are supposedly sexual. Not the pride flag on either one. What the hell? Those are rainbows. Not rainbow colors, rainbows. What is wrong with people? Anyway. So, Others said that everyone is welcome here and the differing skin tones would make some students feel unwelcome. How? Did they miss a skin tone that a student has? Seriously, what the hell? Everyone is welcome here? What, are you saying that racist students would feel unwelcome? Well, they probably would because they would rather, only white people existing. But seriously, what? The district responded to the account directly by saying that the bulletin board would be removed and saying it violated district policy requiring displays to be content neutral. What the fuck is content neutral if expressing that everybody is welcome, which you would think schools would be welcoming to all students, unless you are a private school, in which case, you can pick and choose who's allowed in. Public schools should be welcoming to everyone. How is this not content neutral? How is this a personal belief? My God, it's like you guys are looking for a reason to be hateful. One parent who said the entire discussion was aggressive told the Idaho Statesman that other rainbow posters were taken down even if they had nothing to do with the messages of inclusivity, including one poster for the school's walking club. Right, because the only people who are associating rainbows with gay people are the right wingers who absolutely hate gay people. Most people understand that not every rainbow is a pride flag. And not every rainbow has anything to do with pride or with talking about gay people. It's an elementary school, she said. Everything is rainbow. Which makes it so much worse. Actually, based on that poster, I kind of figured it was an elementary school. But seriously, why are we doing this? Did right-wing talk shows rot your brain? That you would think that rainbows equals gay instead of that rainbows exist? And these are, like I said, these are the same people who will freak out and say that the gays have taken the rainbow and everything that's rainbow is gay or whatever. You're the only one who thinks that. Most people know the difference between pride flags and a rainbow. I mean, I do not know why this is so hard. I mean, seriously, how hateful do you have to be to see a rainbow and get livid? I mean, seriously, after it rains or when you look in a puddle and you see a rainbow, do you become triggered? Do you become enraged because you're seeing a rainbow? Chill. Rainbows are pretty. You really need to touch grass because apparently you don't do that because you don't go outside and look at actual rainbows. If your only concern is that rainbows exist and people make them because they obviously must mean that they're gay. And then, of course, the fact that it's sexual when no, being gay is not sexual. It's no more sexual than being straight. It just means you are romantically and or sexually attracted to the same sex. Just like straight means that you are romantically and or sexually attracted to the opposite sex. There isn't anything inherently sexual about that. And you really shouldn't be vomiting your hate onto other people, especially elementary schools, where kids like rainbows. They're pretty. I don't know what happened to you that you look at rainbows and get enraged, as opposed to just treating rainbows the way they are. I don't know what was done to you that you see that there is a poster with different colored hands, because different skin tones of hands, because not everybody's white, and it makes you enraged, and you come up with some asinine excuse that it could the message that everyone is welcome here is somehow offensive to somebody. Unless you're racist, maybe, but that's a you problem. You either exist in society or you go into a cave and let the rest of society be, because you obviously are not equipped to handle society. If you think that only white people should exist, I mean, that's just the way it is. White people aren't the only ones who exist in this world. So I don't know what else to say. These people are just unhinged. And the school administrators that kowtow to these idiots, they're even worse, because they're telling you that they are secretly bigots, and that at the slightest hint of permission to take down perfectly innocuous messages, they did it. Not because they're worried about content neutral. No, they just wanted to get rid of any message that promotes inclusivity, that promotes people feeling welcome. I mean, I don't know how diverse this community is. I really don't care. I don't care if there is only one black kid in that elementary school. Why wouldn't that be a good message to them, to say, "Hey, we see you. Okay, you are an ultra minority because you're the only black person here, but we see you, we accept you." Seriously, what's wrong with that? Again, unless you're racist. But if you're not racist, how is that not content neutral? That's not a personal belief. That is just what should be the default of schools. That they are welcoming to all students, not just the white ones. If you want just white kids in your schools, you need to make a private school, because those people can discriminate all the livelong day. A public school cannot. So, how is that a personal belief? So, yeah. Just more right wingers just becoming completely unhinged, begging someone to take them to court. And I can only imagine that this town is very small and cannot afford the legal fees that are coming their way for treating people like this. Because if you're going to take down those signs, that's basically telling people who are part of the LGBT plus community who are non-white that they don't belong in that town. So, good luck with all your legal fees that are coming your way, because that is definitely the next step. So anyway, that is all I have for this article. And with that, I will see you guys in the next video.